Hi everybody, welcome back to Sharon from Vivid Days. We are using Clearcast Resin. We're going to mix up just under 450 mils worth of 2:1 resin, mixing it for 3 minutes, and we're going to add a little bit of the Super Sparkle White. I've come in with the autumn stroke fall colours, put my teeth in, because it's coming to that time where the trees, the leaves are all changing, and I was just inspired. Now I'm using for the first time these mica powders, which are Mosuo, have I said that right? I've not used them before, so I wanted to introduce them to you. I got them off Resin, and there is a beautiful selection of pigments in there, and I love them because it's the little things that keep me excited. You can just tap on the side like it's a salt shaker, making it a lot easier for you to distribute the pigments. There's none of this powder dust going everywhere, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Anyway, I'm making sure that my board is level. Oh, there you go. You see me sprinkle it. Also, thank you to my subscribers, but back on with the project. I've made sure my board's level, and I'm curious, will this holographic, well, it's not holographic, is it? It's iridescent window film work with a different resin. So I've recently done a sculpture that I love, and this particular iridescent window paper adhered to the resin so you couldn't remove it, and I was curious, was it just because I'd used stone coat countertop, or would it respond the same when I was using Clearcast? Now obviously you've seen the video at the beginning, so you know it adheres to it beautifully. So super excited. Now, to make life easier for myself when I am mixing up my pigments, I have put pigments on the left and on the right. Now, as artists, fluid artists, or any craft person, we have a responsibility to reduce our impact on the environment. So please think about that when creating your art. Now, these are eco-friendly recycled paper cups. They've not been a single-use one, and I would also recommend getting some silicone cups so you can reuse them over and over again. Anyway, now that's out of the way, look at those beautiful colours. Now I get asked a lot about those. Those are wedding table scatterings that come from Amazon. You can buy them in all different colours and all different sizes, so check out what you've got in your local area. And I want to do a final shout out for everybody that has watched this video, that has chosen to subscribe, and especially to my members. You're all taking a leap of faith and helping me continue to share my art. Okay, now that good stuff's out of the way, let's just look at this eye candy. Now these pigments were very strong and they held their pigment quality, in my opinion. It was such a rich colour. When I started to mix these colours together, I almost got the sense of wood. Let me know, what do you see, and let me know what you think to this colour scheme. For people that's not seen me create any sculptures before and new to my channel, I have a few step-by-step tutorials. I mix my resin. Depending on the resin, the timings are all different, but I wait until it's almost heated up and starting to set. And you can tell by looking at when I pour it, it has a nice curved edge. It doesn't go flat and it doesn't move too quickly. I'm also thinking of doing a sculpture Saturday, so every Saturday there'll be a new sculpture out there, as well as my Sunday lives. So I'm trying to build a bit of routine in there so people know when to upload. My channel is a very varied art channel, and I have a lot of people that join me for different reasons, but hopefully that way it'll give structure for people that enjoy a certain type of my art. And I took a little break from doing sculptures, but I'm back and enjoying them. And if you've got any colour schemes or themes you want me to try, make sure you pop some comments on there. When I place my colours, I'm thinking about how all these combinations work together. I leave a little bit of gap between so that the colours can merge together and not force it to move too much. I know that I'm always going to do some swirls because I don't want them to stay as I'm putting them, and I'm thinking as I bring my swirls in, are the colours going to look okay, or is it going to just be yucky, for want of a better word? Anyway, it just looks lovely, and I hope you enjoy this camera angle. I'm trying to make it look a little bit more eye candy for you and bring you into my creative process. And I've got some different kind of window film that I'm going to test in different projects to see which ones do adhere and which ones don't. Now I know my future compared to what you're seeing, and there are different brands or different types that do react differently, so keep coming back for Saturday sculptures. Anyway, I'm just going to park it and just say a few thank yous. I'll try not to sound like I'm accepting my Oscar. I wanted to say thank you to each and every member. Thank you for your support. Thank you for each and every subscriber and people that watch my channel. I also want to thank the few people that I've done collaborations with recently. And I also have a new collaboration coming up. So there's obviously my girl pal Claire Crafty Corner. I've done one with Miss Felicia and Lisa Wyatt's art. I've done one with Steve McDonald's art. I hope I've remembered everyone. Recently with Cosmic Carol Creation, and I also have one coming up with Miss Wanda's Creation, so Wanda's Blessed Creations. And I think that this YouTube platform that we have is big enough for us all to enjoy and support each other and share the love, as I do on my lives. If you do have a website or a way of selling your artwork that's not on YouTube, or you have a YouTube channel and you'd like for people to pop over and have a look at your work, and if they are inspired or enjoy your channel and it's right for them, they'll subscribe for you. So put your details in there and make sure it's very clear to people that that's what you're doing. Maybe put a love art after your comment, and then I will definitely pop over and share the love, and hopefully other people will. Okay, let's go back to the project at hand. For this particular resin sculpture, I'm working with Clearcast Doming resin. Now, this is a beautiful resin to work with sculptures. I think it's probably one of the best ones so far, and the reason being I have used quite a variety of ones and they all do set beautifully, but the Clearcast Doming one has a fairly harder to touch when it's fully cured. Now, I will definitely work with a few of their different resins, and I'll let you know which ones I'm working with. I'm just trying to see what's out there and what you can get, and also share the love, because we all have different preferences when it comes to resin. I'll take you back to the timing on this one. Now, this one I waited half an hour after I'd mixed it for me to start pouring. It probably took me about 20 minutes to pour, maybe slightly less, but no, you've seen it in real time, so yeah, I reckon 20 minutes maximum for me pouring. So by that time you wait in nearly an hour since it made contact. I then add my beads that take probably another 15 minutes, or the jewels. So about an hour and 15 minutes from it being both chemicals together, part A, part B. And then I set my timer for 4 hours, but it needed an additional 40 minutes. So approximately 4 to 5 hours, I'm going to say 4.5 hours after the initial hour and 15 minutes. You want it firm to touch with your finger, so nothing's going to stick in your, it's not going to stick to your finger, but if you pressed on it, you probably could leave your fingerprints. That's the golden time, in my opinion, for draping it the first time. And that's what gives you the nice, neat folds and trains your resin as it's curing where to go. And it doesn't put strain on your resin, because if you leave it too long to start doing it, you can start to get wrinkles. Nobody wants a granny sculpture, so you could get wrinkles. You could also get it where it breaks, or it's not going to be as aesthetically pleasing. It looks more forced than organic. Anyway, I hope that helps you when it comes to the resin I'm using and the timing. After I did the first fold on this, I waited an additional 4 hours before I set for the final stage of sculpting, and that's where I'm turning it back the other way and really working on the detail of the pleats. Now, if when I touch it is rock solid, too late. If when I touch it, it is too soft still, too early. So you want it where it's not necessarily going to leave a fingerprint impression, but it's still soft enough to manipulate and move. That's how I find you get the best sculpting. Everybody's going to have their own preference. Everybody's going to have their own styles. There is no right or wrong. It's what you find works for you when you touch your resin. So I use that rule of thumb, and that's why every day is a different day with timing, because temperature impacts it, brand impacts it. If you've heated up your resin, impacts it. But you can see when I'm pulling my resin just there, it's almost like a very thick treacle, or you're about to mix rock. But let's come back and let's have a look at the eye candy of this colour scheme. I love every single bit of these colours, and I just think that they pop and they have such warmth and they're so rich. And when I come and do my swirl, it does remind me of, when I say autumn leaves dancing, I use that term loosely, but there is something in there that springs nature, and those browns and those coppers together with just that purple alone is stunning. And it definitely makes me feel a little, not feel, it looks a little bit like a wood effect. Now, maybe I'm just tripping out. The Super Sparkle White adds a little bit of bling, which you can't see in here, but when you hold the sculpture outside, you do see a little bit of that bling come through. And with this iridescent paper that sticks to it, I think it makes it look very classy from the inside. Now, it's the first time I've used glitter in my clear that's going around the edges, so I'd love your thoughts on that. Now, don't worry, the bit that you can see at the bottom there, that big glob of it, I get my little stick, you don't see it off camera, sculpt it down, and then that's what I swirl around the middle. Now, it does add a little bit of character, it's just not something I normally add, so I'd love your thoughts. Do you think it adds any value to the sculpture, or would you have left that out? Off camera now, I get my pen and get it all out. You can see it there. Get my glitter out. That's what I'm trying to say. And as always, I always put a little bit of clear around the edges. Now, people may choose to do this or not. It's what I prefer to do. I like the edge of my sculptures to be clear where possible, because when I add the diamond or the crystal table scatterings, the wedding ones from Amazon, not real crystals, the clear, in my opinion, helps it stick out so it's more like glass. I'm just looking at those colours. Lush. Now, I'm very mindful when I use resin of leaving anything clear, because no matter what you think, no matter what your manufacturers say, all resin yellows over time. Some resin doesn't yellow as quickly or as strongly, but when you add pigments to it, it helps hide it. Now, if your sculpture is going to be in the sun, it's going to yellow quicker. So please, please, please be mindful of that. I'm seeing some beautiful pieces of work done out there, and they're done with clear resin. And if you're only new to working with resin, I challenge you to put a bit of clear resin in a drawer and out in the sun, and come back in 12-month time and see how much it does discolour. I've done that with quite a few of my projects. Now, some brands, they will have UV protection in there, and that will stop it yellowing as much, but it is something for you to take into consideration. So when I use clear around my edges, I use it sparingly, and the reason I use it is because I'm putting my crystals in there and I want them to stand out. I don't want them to be immersed in colours, but because it's used so sparingly, I have confidence that when I sell these, or when people display them, that there's going to be no hideous yellowing obvious to anybody. Now, I've had my original sculpture, the one that was done with the alcohol inks, the one that's done the best out of all my sculptures. It is still sat proudly in my house, and it is not discoloured yet, but it is not on a windowsill. It's on my hearth, and it still looks beautiful. And the alcohol ink is still there, because people did worry me about alcohol inks in resin, that it can disappear really quickly, and I think it all depends on the brands. Anyway, I'm Sharon. I really was on my soapbox there, wasn't I? But what I've done currently is added a little bit of clear just in circles, just to try and help create a little bit of depth or a little bit of effects. Now, at this stage, it's very hard to move this resin because it's been sat there, we talked about, for an hour at this stage, maybe an hour 15. And I just put my heat on it just to try and blend some colours together, but I don't want it to go too loose. Now, this is the bit that I always do and enjoy to my sculptures. When I've got my colours down, I then like to come and create that little bit of movement. And the reason I like to do that is, as I'm sculpting it and you're getting pleats and everything like that, it just adds to the sense of movement within your sculpture and that fluidness of it. Now, you may choose to just leave them in solid colours, that's okay, but I think when I do this, with the movement that I do within my sculpting and the colours, I think it looks more interesting. But it's a personal choice, there is no right or wrong, it's about going with what you enjoy. Now, when I've done this, the resin itself should have stopped moving. and it should be almost ready for curing. So I always leave my table scatterings until last minute, and I always add a fairly thick border of them, which is a little bit of a pain because you then have to pick up all these leftover crystals, but you do pick them up and you recycle them over and over. Now, the reason I do a thick border is I want to make sure that the crystals are at the total edge of my resin and no resin skips past it. Now, you can see there's a slight lip and a slight dome still on my resin. When I push my crystals into them, it is going to force it to bleed a little bit, so it will trickle over some of those crystals. But by having a thick enough border around it, I should have enough contingency in there that I can then pull off with my fingers all the excess ones. So on some videos you see me just up tipping it, and then it's just they go all over like those hundreds and thousands you used to drop as a kid. So you can either work smart or work hard. On this particular one, I went back 2 hours later and pulled off all the excess ones, and I just push my spoon up so that every bit of crystal or table scatterings is connecting with that resin. Anyway, I'm just going to regroup my thoughts and see what comes next, because I've just realised I've not put no dodgy FM on for you at all. You've just heard me digressing. Well, I was in a chatty mood, people. Stick with me. And I'm going to take you for a helicopter view. Hope it doesn't make you too dizzy with these beautiful colour schemes. It is lush. It is resin eye candy. So I'm going to leave my commentary now. You've listened to me for 17 minutes. You're going to listen to a little bit of dodgy FM. So the only thing you're going to see is me sculpting at stage 1, stage 2, reveal. I'm going to take you out into the daylight so you can really see these colours and the amazing effect. And I absolutely love this. So people might look at this and think, well, it's the same as the one you did the other week. And I can go, no, it's not. The only thing the same is the window film inside. And because it is iridescent, it's going to pull whatever colour you've got in there as the strongest. So this one becomes more pink or purple. But the outside is absolutely different. Anyway, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I am still 49. By the time you're watching this video, I think I will have hit 50. So I'm off up Yorkshire soon to celebrate with my family. And hold on for a week. My videos might slow down just for a week, but when I get back, I promise you I will continue to share my art with you. So have the most amazing day. Keep safe, keep creating, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.